The sky over New Mexico burned crimson as the strange object tore through Earth's atmosphere, trailing flames and debris across the desert horizon. Captain Maya Rice stood on the observation deck of Kirtland Air Force Base, her hand frozen midway to her face as she lowered her binoculars. 20 years in the United States Space Defense Force hadn't prepared her for this. "Tell me that's not what I think it is," she whispered. Lieutenant Zhao pressed his earpiece tighter. "Tracking confirms it's slowing down. That's not a meteor. It's maneuvering." The object, sleek, dark, and clearly designed, descended in a controlled spiral until it hovered just 50 meters above the desert floor. No human craft could move like that. "Defensive positions," Maya barked into her comm. "All units maintain distance. No engagement without direct authorization." The atmosphere around the craft shimmered like heat waves in summer, distorting the air. The nearest junipers withered on contact with the invisible field. Then, with a sound like the deepest note on a piano stretched to infinity, a section of the hull simply opened. Maya's heart hammered. First contact. After all the speculation, the SETI projects, the endless debates, here they were. What emerged wasn't what anyone expected. Not the tall, slender humanoids of popular imagination. Not the insectoid nightmares of science fiction. They were small, maybe a meter tall, with soft, translucent bodies that seemed to pulse with internal light. 3 limbs, not 4. No discernible head, but multiple sensory clusters that shifted position across their form. They moved like liquid mercury, flowing rather than walking. And they were dying. The first one that emerged collapsed immediately, its body dimming like a light bulb with failing electricity. The second dragged itself forward, leaving a trail of luminescent fluid that Maya instinctively knew was blood. "They're injured," she muttered. "Get me hazmat suits. Now." "Captain, protocols state." "I don't give a damn about protocols, Zhao. Look at them." 5 had emerged, all wounded, all clearly desperate. Maya suited up personally, leading the approach team herself. The closer they got, the more the radiation detectors screamed warnings. Whatever these beings were, they emitted radiation signatures unlike anything in human experience. "Captain," Dr. Elias Chen's voice crackled through her helmet comm. "Our analysis indicates they're broadcasting. Not radio waves, something else. Quantum entanglement, maybe, but it's constant, and it's directed outward." "They're calling for help," Maya realized. When she stood 10 meters from the nearest alien, it extended a limb toward her. Not threatening, pleading. And somehow, impossibly, Maya heard words in her mind, faint but clear. "Asterisk help. Sanctuary. We are the last asterisk." Dr. Annika Sharma had been pulled from her bed at 3 a.m. By dawn, she found herself in a hastily established containment facility, staring at beings that defied everything she knew about biology. "They're silicon-based," she told the Emergency Scientific Council assembled in the adjacent room. "Their cellular structure uses liquid metal as a transport medium instead of water, and they communicate through quantum fields our instruments can barely detect." General William Foster, head of Space Defense, leaned forward. "Can they be contained?" Annika bristled. "They're sentient beings, not specimens, and they're critically injured. They're also emitting radiation that could contaminate half the state if we're not careful," he countered. "It's not contamination," Annika argued. "It's their life force. Like our electromagnetic field, but stronger. We've developed shielding that contains it." "And what do they want?" President Helen Garcia asked quietly from the video screen that dominated the wall. Her eyes were shadowed from lack of sleep, but her voice remained steady. "They call themselves the Lumina," Annika said. "And they're refugees." The room fell silent. "From what?" the president finally asked. "That's the concerning part." Annika pulled up images on the main screen. "They've shared memories, mental impressions. They're fleeing from something they call the harvest. a predatory civilization that consumes other sentient species. She showed the mental reconstruction their computers had assembled from the aliens' memories. Massive ships, dark and angular, that moved between the stars like locusts. Worlds burned. Species disappeared. The Luminous say we're not the first world they've sought sanctuary from. They've approached 17 other civilizations. All turned them away once they understood what was hunting the Lumina. Because helping them would draw attention from these harvesters, Foster asked. Yes, President Garcia's face remained impassive. How many Lumina are left? 27, Annika said. What you're seeing here is the last of their kind. Their home world was destroyed 3 of our years ago. Foster stood, pacing the room. Madam President, I recommend immediate containment and isolation. If these harvesters are real, we can't risk. We didn't call you here for strategic advice, General, Garcia interrupted. Dr. Sharma, if we turn them away, what happens? Annika looked directly into the camera. They die. Their ship is damaged beyond repair. They have nowhere else to go. The president nodded slowly. Helping them could bring danger to Earth. Yes, Annika admitted. And refusing them means condemning the last members of an entire sentient species to extinction. Also, yes. President Garcia closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, her decision was clear. Prepare accommodations for our guests, Dr. Sharma. Earth will grant sanctuary to the Lumina. News of the aliens spread worldwide within hours. Protests erupted outside the White House and United Nations. Religious leaders proclaimed everything from the end times to the dawning of a new age. Stock markets plummeted, then surged as companies scrambled to position themselves for alien technology acquisition. Maya found herself appointed as chief security liaison to the Lumina. She stood now with Annika in the observation room, watching as medical teams worked to stabilize the aliens. You know what Foster and half the Joint Chiefs wanted, Maya said quietly. Dissection and weapons development. Annika nodded. Humans being humans. But not all humans, Maya countered. The president chose mercy. For now, Annika sighed. But if these harvesters are real, they are. A new voice interrupted. Both women turned to find a tall man with silver-streaked black hair watching them from the doorway. Dr. Gabriel Okafor, he introduced himself. Xenolinguistics specialist. I've been working directly with the Lumina for the past week. And, Maya prompted, they've shown me what's coming. Gabriel's voice was grim. The harvesters detected their emergency transmission. They know the Lumina are here. Maya felt ice in her veins. How long do we have? 3 months, maybe 4. Gabriel stepped closer to the glass, watching the aliens with a mixture of wonder and sorrow. They didn't mean to bring this to our doorstep. They were desperate. What exactly are we facing? Annika asked. Gabriel touched a small device at his temple, a neural interface. Images flooded the room's displays. Massive ships like cities in space, technology beyond humanity's comprehension, and beings that seemed to shift between mechanical and organic states. The harvesters aren't just predators, Gabriel explained. They believe consuming advanced species is their evolutionary right, their destiny. They take not just resources but knowledge, culture, technology. They absorb it all. How many worlds have they taken? Maya asked. Hundreds, Gabriel said. Over thousands of years. The Lumina were hiding for centuries before they were found. Now they've brought their hunters to us. Do they have any weaknesses? Maya asked, the soldier in her already analyzing, planning. The Lumina don't know. No one who's fought the harvesters has survived to share that information. The weight of his words hung heavy in the air. So, Annika said quietly, humanity just became the only species to ever shelter the Lumina. Yes, Gabriel confirmed. And for that kindness, Maya concluded, we might face extinction. Gabriel nodded solemnly. Unless we can do what no other civilization has managed. Maya stared at the aliens, fragile, luminous, the last of their kind. In their soft glow, She saw the reflection of humanity's choice, compassion over self-preservation. "Then we better start preparing," she said, "because I'll be damned if humanity's first act on the galactic stage is to fail those who came to us for help." ## Part II. The Gay the Rang Storm. 1 month later, United Nations Plaza in New York City hummed with tension as world leaders gathered for an unprecedented summit. The Secretary General had christened it with a name that acknowledged the gravity of their situation: the Survival Council. Inside the newly renovated General Assembly Hall, holographic displays showed the approaching Harvester fleet, 13 massive vessels currently passing Jupiter's orbit. Earth had never been more united, nor more divided on how to proceed. Maya stood at military attention beside the American delegation, watching as representatives from 195 nations argued over humanity's response. "The Chinese government has accelerated production of our orbital defense platforms," General Lai Wei announced. "But without Lumina assistance with the technology integration, they will be insufficient." "The Lumina are still recovering," Annika countered from her position with the Scientific Advisory Committee. "Forcing them to work beyond their capacity could kill them." "With respect, Doctor," Russian Defense Minister Petrov interjected, "if those harvester ships reach Earth, we all die. What good is saving 27 aliens if humanity is extinct?" Gabriel Okafor, now the official human Lumina liaison, rose to speak. In the past month, his neural connection with the aliens had deepened to the point where he sometimes moved with their fluid grace. "The Lumina understand the sacrifice Earth is making," he said. "They've offered all their technological knowledge. But remember, they are refugees, not warriors. Their civilization flourished through art and science, not weapons." Then perhaps a new voice cut in. "We should reconsider our position." Heads turned toward Elon Reichman, the technology magnate whose corporations now controlled much of Earth's satellite infrastructure. "Earth extended sanctuary without understanding the consequences," Reichman continued. "International law allows for asylum to be revoked when the security of the host nation is threatened." Maya felt her jaw tighten. "You're suggesting we hand them over?" Reichman spread his hands in a gesture of pragmatism. "The harvesters want the Lumina, not us. Their ship is partially repaired. If we send them back into space, we condemn them to death." President Garcia interrupted. She stood, commanding the room's attention. "And we announce to the galaxy that humans abandon their promises when keeping them becomes difficult." "With respect, Madam President," Reichman pressed, "you made this decision unilaterally. The American people are better than that," she finished for him. "As is all of humanity. We don't sacrifice others to save ourselves. That's what separates us from the harvesters." The debate continued for hours, but Maya found herself watching Gabriel. He sat quietly, eyes closed, occasionally making the strange flowing gestures that mimicked Lumina communication. When the council broke for recess, she approached him. "You're in contact with them right now, aren't you?" Gabriel opened his eyes. "They never truly disconnect. Their consciousness is different from ours, more collective. What are they saying about all this?" His expression grew troubled. "They feel what they call the weight of gift. In their culture, to receive sanctuary creates a debt that can never be repaid. They're offering something, Maya. Something they've kept hidden until now." "What?" "A weapon," Gabriel whispered. "Or it could be, in human hands. The harvesters have one vulnerability. Their ships are linked through a quantum network. It's how they coordinate across vast distances." Maya leaned closer. "And the Lumina can disrupt this network?" "Not exactly, but they understand it. They believe humans could develop a countermeasure. Why haven't they told us this before?" Gabriel's expression darkened. "Because the technology required is dangerous. It could tear apart the fabric of space-time if misused. They've been afraid to share it, afraid of what we might do with it after the harvesters are gone." Maya considered this, but now they're willing to take that risk. "They've been monitoring our debates, watching how desperately many humans want to protect them, despite the cost. It's changed something in them. His voice dropped lower. They want to speak directly to the council. The Lumina had never appeared in public. Their radiation made it unsafe, and their environmental needs were complex. But what entered the General Assembly that afternoon struck the gathered leaders silent. It wasn't physically present. Instead, a projection of swirling light coalesced at the center of the room. It took a roughly humanoid shape, though it flowed and shifted constantly, beautiful and utterly alien. Asterisk, we are Lumina. We speak as one voice for our people, asterisk. The thoughts appeared simultaneously in every mind present, in their native language, a miracle of the Lumina's quantum communication abilities. Asterisk, we have watched. We have listened. You debate whether our lives are worth the risk to yours. This is wisdom. This is prudence, asterisk. The light form expanded, filling more of the room. Asterisk, what we did not expect was how many would stand for us. In our journey across 17 worlds, no other species offered what humanity has given freely. Hope in our darkest moment, asterisk. The assembly sat transfixed as the Lumina presence shifted, creating a display of stars and distant worlds. Asterisk, we have hidden knowledge from you. The harvesters have weakness, though exploiting it carries grave danger. We feared what humans might become with such power. We have seen species corrupted by lesser technologies than what we now offer, asterisk. President Garcia stood. Whatever you're offering, we understand there may be risks. Asterisk, not risks, President Garcia. Certainties. Asterisk. The luminous thoughts carried a weight of sorrow. Asterisk, what we offer is knowledge of quantum disruption on a scale that could collapse reality itself if misused. It is a fire that has burned worlds before time as you understand it began. Asterisk. The display changed, showing mathematical equations and strange geometric patterns that seem to bend the eye. Asterisk. This is the foundation of what you need. With it, your scientists can develop a defense against the harvesters. But afterward, this knowledge cannot be unmade. Humanity will carry it forever, for good or ill, asterisk. Minister Petrov leaned forward. You withheld this because you didn't trust us. Asterisk, we withheld it because we have seen what becomes of species who touch such power before they are ready. But now we have no choice. And perhaps, asterisk, the light pulsed briefly. Asterisk, perhaps humanity is different. You chose mercy when logic demanded abandonment. You debate openly rather than decide in darkness, asterisk. Secretary General Okonjo rose. On behalf of Earth, I thank you for this offer. The Council will need to discuss. Asterisk, there is no time for discussion. Asterisk, the Lumina interrupted, a first hint of urgency in their thoughts. Asterisk, the harvester fleet has accelerated. They will reach Earth in 16 of your days, not the months we projected, asterisk. The room erupted in chaos. When order was finally restored, President Garcia spoke again. Why the change? Asterisk, they have detected our communication with you. They fear what we might share. They come now to silence us and take what you know, asterisk. Gabriel stepped forward, his movements mirroring the flowing grace of the Lumina. If we accept your knowledge, how quickly can we develop a defense? Asterisk, with your current technology. It will require all of Earth's scientific minds working together. Even then, the probability of success before the harvesters arrive is asterisk. The light dimmed slightly. Asterisk, less than 30%, asterisk. Maya found Annika in her lab that night, surrounded by holographic equations that made no sense to the soldier's eyes. The scientist hadn't slept in 36 hours. The Lumina data is incredible, Annika said without looking up. They understand quantum mechanics on a level we haven't even theorized yet. It's like Newton trying to comprehend quantum computing. Can we make it work? Maya asked. Maybe. Annika ran her hands through her disheveled hair. We're calling it Project Firewall. The theory is sound. We can create a quantum disruption field that should sever the harvester's network. Without their hive intelligence, each ship becomes vulnerable. Should. There are variables we can't account for, and the power requirements are. She gestured to a simulation showing the energy output of the entire planet. We'll need to redirect about 60% of Earth's power grid. Maya whistled low. That'll leave billions in darkness. If it fails, they'll be in darkness permanently, Annika countered grimly. Gabriel entered, carrying steaming cups of coffee. Since the luminous public appearance, he'd become even more integrated with them, sometimes speaking in their collective we without realizing it. The United States, China, and Russia have agreed to share their nuclear arsenals for the initial defense, he reported. If Firewall fails, we'll at least have conventional weapons. Won't make a difference, Annika muttered. The Lumina memories show harvesters shrugging off direct hits from weapons more advanced than ours. Maya studied a display showing harvester ship schematics. What about a physical attack? If we could get a team aboard one of their vessels. Suicide mission, Gabriel said flatly. And there's something else you should know. He hesitated. The Lumina shared their complete memories with me. There's a reason the harvesters are so interested in them specifically. Which is? Maya prompted. Lumina biology. Their quantum communication abilities are part of their cellular structure. The harvesters want to absorb that capacity. It would expand their hive mind exponentially. Annika's fingers froze above her keyboard. And if they learned humans have been exposed to Lumina technology? Gabriel nodded grimly. We become targets too. Not just for invasion, but for harvesting. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. So we're already committed, Maya finally said. No turning back, even if we wanted to. The Survival Council votes tomorrow on the final plan, Gabriel confirmed. But yes, Earth is now in this fight, whether we surrender the Lumina or not. Annika turned back to her equations. Then we better make sure Firewall works. Maya moved to leave, but Gabriel caught her arm. There's something else, Captain. Something only the Lumina and I know. His expression was grave. The quantum disruption has side effects. If we activate it at full power, it won't just disable the harvesters. What will it do? Gabriel lowered his voice. It could permanently alter Earth's connection to the broader quantum fields that bind the universe together. Meaning, after we use it, Earth might be hidden, unreachable by normal space travel, possibly for centuries. Maya stared at him. You're saying we'd be cutting ourselves off from the rest of the galaxy, voluntarily isolating humanity. To save both our species, Gabriel confirmed. The Lumina believe it may be the only way. Does the president know? Not yet. I'm telling you first because he seemed to struggle for words. Because what? Because the Lumina sense something in you, a harmony with their thought patterns. They believe you'll understand the necessity of sacrifice. Maya felt the weight of his words settle on her shoulders. The choice was becoming clearer. Victory might mean saving Earth, but at the cost of its future among the stars. Tell the president, she finally said, but no one else. Not until we know if Firewall will even work. Gabriel nodded. The first tests begin tomorrow. As she left the lab, Maya paused to look at a display showing the countdown timer. 15 days, 7 hours until harvester arrival. The storm was gathering, and Earth's time was running out. #part II. The series is IBL. 10 days later, Maya stood in the converted football stadium that now housed Project Firewall's core systems. Around her, thousands of scientists and engineers from every nation worked in relentless shifts. Politics had been set aside in the face of extinction. The massive quantum disruptor, a ring of technology 50 meters across, dominated the center of the field. Power cables as thick as tree trunks fed into it from all directions, drawing electricity from every major grid on the planet. Status? Maya asked as Annika approached, dark circles under her eyes testament to her exhaustion. 5th test firing in 30 minutes, Annika replied. The last 4. I know. Maya didn't need reminding. Each test had failed, though they'd gotten closer with each attempt. Gabriel joined them, his movements now almost indistinguishable from the fluid grace of the Lumina. The neural interface at his temple had grown, spreading across his skin like a silver web. "The Lumina are concerned," he said without preamble. "The Harvester fleet has changed formation. 6 ships have accelerated ahead of the main group." "How soon?" Maya demanded. 36 hours. Maybe less." Annika paled. "The disruptor won't be ready. We need at least 4 more days." "Then we fight conventionally," Maya decided. "Buy you the time you need." Against 6 Harvester ships. Gabriel shook his head. Based on Lumina memory patterns, Earth's combined military might couldn't disable even one. A commotion near the stadium entrance drew their attention. Elon Reichman strode through the security checkpoint, flanked by private guards and a cluster of international officials. "This can't be good," Annika muttered. Reichman approached, his expression severe. "Captain Rice, I've been authorized by the Security Council to inspect Project Firewall's progress." "This is a restricted area," Maya countered. "Not anymore." He handed her a tablet displaying emergency authorization codes. "Effective immediately. I'm the Civilian Oversight Director for all Earth Defense Initiatives." Maya scanned the document. "On whose authority?" "Realities," Reichman replied coldly. "Your team has failed 4 times. The Harvester Advance Force will be here in less than 2 days. Half the planet is experiencing rolling blackouts to power your experiments. The Council wants contingency plans." "We're making progress," Annika insisted. "Each test gets us closer to the resonance frequency we need." "So I've heard. I've also heard what you haven't told the Council." Reichman's gaze fixed on Gabriel. "That even if Firewall works, it might cut Earth off from interstellar travel for generations." Maya shot Gabriel a sharp look. He shook his head slightly. He hadn't been the one to leak that information. The Lumina shared their collective knowledge with everyone connected to the project. Reichman explained, noting their silent exchange. "Including some scientists whose loyalty to humanity exceeds their loyalty to aliens." "This isn't about loyalty," Maya argued. "It's about survival." "Precisely." Reichman's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Which is why I've negotiated an alternative." "What alternative?" Annika demanded. "I've established communication with the Harvester Advance Fleet." The statement hung in the air like a thunderclap. "That's treason," Maya whispered. "It's pragmatism," Reichman countered. "They've agreed to bypass Earth entirely if we surrender the Lumina and all data related to their quantum technology." Gabriel stepped forward, his voice taking on the resonant quality it held when he channeled the Lumina consciousness. "The Harvesters do not negotiate. They do not honor agreements. This is a deception." "Perhaps," Reichman conceded, "but it's a chance, one with better odds than your repeatedly failing project." "The Council would never agree to this," Maya said. "The Council is voting as we speak. Early counts suggest they'll ratify my proposal within hours." Annika looked stricken. "You can't seriously believe." "What I believe," Reichman cut her off, "is that 7 billion human lives outweigh 27 alien ones. If sacrificing them gives us even a slight chance of survival, that's simple mathematics." Maya's hand moved subtly toward her sidearm. "And if we refuse?" Reichman nodded to his security team, who took up positions around the stadium floor. "Then you'll be relieved of command under Article 7 of the Emergency Powers Act. The Lumina will be secured and prepared for transfer." "This is wrong," Maya said quietly. "Not just morally. Strategically. The Harvesters won't stop with the Lumina. They'll come for us next." "That's speculation," Reichman replied. "My solution offers immediate survival, at the cost of everything that makes humanity worth preserving," Gabriel said. Reichman's expression hardened. "You've spent too much time with them. Okafor, you're compromised." Before anyone could respond, the stadium's alert system blared to life. Red emergency lights bathed the vast space. "What now?" Reichman demanded. A technician ran up to Maya. "Captain, The orbital defense platforms are detecting massive energy signatures entering Earth's atmosphere. Multiple points of entry. Maya's blood ran cold. Where? Everywhere, Mom. It's not the main fleet. These are smaller craft. Hundreds of them. Gabriel's eyes grew distant. Scout ships. The Harvesters always send them ahead to identify primary targets and resistance points. How long until they land? Maya asked. They already have. The first Harvester scout landed in Central Park, New York City. Within minutes, footage spread worldwide. A metallic pod cracking open to reveal beings that shifted between solid and liquid states, their bodies a disturbing blend of organic tissue and mechanical components. They moved through the panicking crowds with methodical purpose, touching humans seemingly at random. Those touched collapsed instantly, their bodies contorting as microscopic Harvester technology invaded their systems. Similar scenes play out simultaneously in London, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo, and 30 other major cities. Within an hour, the pattern became clear. The scouts were collecting information, biological samples, technology scans, and most disturbing of all, human test subjects. In the firewall facility, Maya watched the global feeds in horror. They're ahead of schedule, Gabriel said, his voice strangely calm. The main fleet must have launched these scouts days ago. Reichman paced frantically. This changes nothing. If we surrender the Lumina, it changes everything. Maya interrupted. They're already harvesting humans. Your negotiation was a sham. The facility's secure line activated. President Garcia's face appeared on the main screen, her expression grim. Captain Rice, the Security Council vote has been suspended due to the attacks. I'm implementing emergency protocol Archangel, effective immediately. All alien containment facilities are now under direct military control. Understood, Madam President. Mr. Reichman, Garcia continued, your authority has been revoked. You'll be detained pending investigation into unauthorized communication with hostile entities. Reichman's face contorted with rage. You're making a mistake. We still have time to. Security, Maya cut in sharply. 2 soldiers moved to flank Reichman. Escort Mr. Reichman to detention. As they led him away, Garcia addressed Maya directly. How close is Firewall to operational status? Annika stepped into frame. We need more time, Madam President. At least 3 days. You have 12 hours. After that, Garcia's voice faltered slightly. After that, we commit everything we have to conventional defense. It won't be enough, Gabriel said quietly. I know. Garcia's expression was solemn. But humanity will not surrender. We will not abandon those who sought our protection. If we fall with honor. The transmission ended. Maya turned to her team. You heard the President. 12 hours to save the world. Annika nodded. I'll reconfigure the power distribution. We'll need more, much more. Take it, Maya authorized. Every watt on the planet if necessary. As they dispersed to their stations, Gabriel caught Maya's arm. There's another option. The Lumina have been discussing it among themselves. What kind of option? A sacrifice. His eyes held a strange light, the same luminescence she'd seen in the aliens. They believe they can amplify the quantum disruptor themselves, using their own biological quantum fields. Maya understood immediately. That would kill them. Yes, all of them, but it would guarantee Firewall's activation. I can't ask them to do that. You don't have to, Gabriel said gently. They're volunteering. It's their gift to humanity, repayment for the sanctuary Earth provided when no one else would. Maya felt her throat tighten. Let me speak with them first. The Lumina containment facility glowed with soft blue light as Maya entered. The 27 beings floated in specially designed chambers, their translucent bodies pulsing with internal light. They no longer needed the neural interface to communicate with her. Somehow, they'd established a direct connection to her mind. Asterisk Captain Maya Reyes. We have been waiting asterisk. The thought appeared in her consciousness, clear as spoken words. Gabriel told me what you're proposing, she said. I can't accept it. Asterisk, it is not yours to accept or reject. It is our choice asterisk. The nearest lumina floated closer to the transparent barrier, its body shifting to display complex patterns that somehow conveyed both sadness and resolve. Asterisk, we watched 17 civilizations choose self-preservation over compassion. We understood their logic. But humanity chose differently. You gave us what we needed most, dignity in our final days asterisk. You don't need to die, Maya insisted. We can still make firewall work. Annika's team is reconfiguring. Asterisk, the calculations are certain. Your technology cannot generate sufficient quantum coherence without our assistance. The harvesters will arrive before Dr. Sharma succeeds asterisk. Maya placed her hand against the barrier. There must be another way. Asterisk, there is not. But do not grieve for us, Maya Reyes. Our species was already doomed. What changes now is our legacy asterisk. The luminous glow intensified. Asterisk, before humanity, we would have been forgotten. Another species consumed by the harvesters. Now we die with purpose. Our energy will protect the species that protected us. There is harmony in this ending asterisk. Maya felt tears on her cheeks. I promised you sanctuary. Asterisk, and you provided it, when it mattered most. Now we return that gift asterisk. The lumina began to pulse in unison, their light synchronizing across all 27 chambers. Asterisk, we have one request. Captain asterisk. Anything. Asterisk, when Earth stands among the stars again, whether in decades or centuries, tell them our story. Tell them that the lumina lived, and that in our final act, we helped preserve something precious in this galaxy, a species that chose compassion when logic demanded abandonment asterisk. Maya could only nod, words failing her. Asterisk, it is time. The scout ships are converging on this facility. They sense our presence. We must move quickly asterisk. I'll arrange transport to the stadium. Maya began. Asterisk, no need asterisk. The luminous bodies began to lose their physical form, dissolving into pure light that swirled within their chambers. Asterisk, we have maintained physical bodies for your convenience. Our true form is less. Constrained asterisk. Before Maya's astonished eyes, the light passed through the supposedly impenetrable containment barriers, coalescing into a single brilliant sphere at the center of the room. Asterisk, we go to join with your firewall. When the time comes, you will know what to do asterisk. The sphere shot upward, passing through the ceiling as if it were mist, leaving Maya alone in the suddenly darkened facility. Her comm unit buzzed. Annika's voice, breathless with excitement. Maya, get to the stadium now. Something incredible is happening with the quantum disruptor. Maya arrived to find the massive ring at the center of the stadium pulsing with blue-white light identical to the luminous glow. The scientists stood back in wonder as the machine operated beyond its design specifications, power readings climbing off their charts. How is this possible? Maya asked as she joined Annika. It's them, the scientist whispered in awe. The Lumina. They've somehow integrated themselves into the quantum matrix. They're becoming the disruptor. Gabriel stood directly beneath the massive ring, his arms outstretched, the neural interface at his temple glowing with the same light. His voice, when he spoke, contained echoes of the collective Lumina consciousness. The harvesters have detected what we're doing, he announced. The main fleet has accelerated to maximum velocity. They will reach Earth in 3 hours. Can we activate firewall before then? Maya asked. Annika nodded. Thanks to whatever the Lumina are doing, yes. But Gabriel's been explaining the consequences. Once activated, there's no going back. Explain, Maya demanded. Gabriel turned toward her, his eyes now glowing with internal light. The quantum disruption will ripple outward in 2 waves. The first will sever the harvester network, rendering their hive mind inoperable. Their ships will become isolated, vulnerable. And the second wave will fold space-time around Earth, creating what the Lumina call a quantum shadow. To the rest of the galaxy, Earth will appear to be elsewhere, unreachable by conventional space travel, protected but isolated. For how long? Maya asked. Decades at minimum, possibly centuries. Annika's face showed the weight of this revelation. We'd be cutting ourselves off from any potential allies, from exploration, from everything beyond our solar system. But we'd survive, Maya said quietly. President Garsh's voice came through the facility speakers. Captain Rice, Dr. Sharma. We're tracking Harvester scout ships converging on your location. They've identified the firewall facility as a primary target. You have 15 minutes before they breach your perimeter. Maya turned to Annika. How long until firewall is ready? 20 minutes at least, the scientist replied, panic edging into her voice. We need to complete the calibration sequence. Then we buy you time. Maya activated her tactical comm. All security units to defensive positions. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Gabriel approached her, moving with the strange fluid grace that marked his deepening connection with the Lumina. Maya, I need to join with the quantum matrix. Fully. She studied his face, still human, but somehow more. What does that mean, exactly? The Lumina need a bridge, a consciousness that understands both their quantum nature and human technology. I'm the only one who can provide that connection. And what happens to you? His smile was sad but determined. I become part of something greater, the final link between our species. Before she could respond, the perimeter alarms blared. Security footage showed Harvester scout ships landing on the stadium's outer concourse. Go, Maya told Gabriel. Do what you need to do. She turned to Annika. Get firewall online, whatever it takes. Drawing her weapon, Maya headed toward the security station. And I'll make sure you have the time you need. The battle for Project Firewall was brutal and swift. The Harvester scouts moved with mechanical precision, their bodies shimmering between solid and liquid states as they absorbed weapons fire without slowing. Maya led the defense personally, coordinating security teams from the stadium's main entrance. Conventional bullets proved nearly useless, but the high-energy plasma weapons hastily adapted from Lumina technology showed more promise, temporarily disrupting the Harvester's molecular cohesion. Fall back to position 3. Maya ordered as another wave of scouts breached the outer doors. Concentrated fire, 3-second bursts. A security officer beside her screamed as a Harvester tendril pierced his armor, the metallic appendage pulsing as it drew something from his body. Not blood, something more fundamental. His very life force seemed to drain away, his skin graying before Maya's eyes. She fired 3 plasma bursts into the Harvester, finally causing it to collapse into a puddle of silvery liquid. But for every one they destroyed, 3 more appeared. Captain. Annika's voice crackled through her comm. We need 5 more minutes. I don't think we have 5 minutes, Maya replied grimly, watching as Harvesters began pouring through multiple entry points. Her comm crackled again, this time with President Garcia's voice. Captain, the Security Council has authorized nuclear strikes on the Harvester fleet. Impact in 4 minutes. That won't stop them, Maya warned. The Lumina memories. I know, Garcia interrupted, her voice steady despite everything. But it might slow them down. Just get firewall online. Maya checked her weapons charge, nearly depleted. Around her, the defense teams were falling back toward the stadium floor, fighting desperately for every meter. Annika, she said into her comm, we're out of time. You need to activate now. The calibration isn't complete. If we activate early, the quantum shadow effect could be permanent. Earth might never rejoin the galaxy. Maya watched as a Harvester scout absorbed a full plasma blast without slowing. Better isolated than extinct. Do it now. Inside the stadium, Gabriel stood at the center of the quantum disruptor ring, his body suffused with blue-white light. The Lumina energy swirled around him, through him, transforming him into something neither fully human nor fully alien. "We are ready," he said, his voice resonating with the collective consciousness of the Lumina. Annika initiated the activation sequence, her fingers flying across the controls. Quantum coherence at 87%. It's not optimal, but it should be enough for the first wave effect. And the quantum shadow. Annika shook her head. Unknown. We're in uncharted territory. Outside, the sky lit up as Earth's nuclear arsenal engaged the approaching harvester fleet. Massive explosions bloomed in the upper atmosphere, brilliant enough to be visible even in daylight. But through the fiery clouds, dark shapes continued their descent, unaffected, unstoppable. In the stadium's defensive corridor, Maya fired her last plasma charge. Fall back to the disruptor. Protected at all costs. Her security team retreated toward the stadium floor as harvesters pursued, their liquid metal bodies flowing over walls and barriers with terrible purpose. Maya knew they would reach the disruptor within minutes. On the stadium floor, the quantum ring pulsed with increasing intensity, the Lumina energy now so bright it hurt to look at directly. Gabriel/Lumina stood at its center, arms outstretched, his humanity almost completely subsumed by light. "Now, Annika," Maya shouted as she burst onto the stadium floor, harvesters close behind. Annika slammed her hand down on the activation control. For one breathless moment, nothing happened. Then, the world changed. The quantum disruptor released its first wave, a pulse of energy that expanded outward at impossible speed. As it passed through the stadium, every harvester scout froze mid-motion, their bodies suddenly rigid as their quantum network connection severed instantly. In the sky above, the massive harvester ships tumbled from their perfect formation, their synchronized movement collapsing into chaos. Several collided, their massive hulls crumpling against each other as they fell into uncontrolled descent. It worked, Annika whispered in disbelief. The first wave actually worked. But Gabriel/Lumina was changing, the light within him growing to blinding intensity. "Second wave imminent," he announced, his voice no longer sounding human at all. "The quantum shadow forms. Earth will be protected." "Gabriel," Maya called. "Can you control it? Can you limit the isolation effect?" The being that had been Gabriel Okafor turned toward her, its form now almost entirely light. "We try. Maya Reyes. For humanity's sake, we try. But the pattern is complex beyond imagining. The second wave built within the quantum ring, a different energy, darker, deeper, bending light around it like a gravitational lens. "Everyone brace," Annika shouted. The wave released, expanding outward more slowly than the first, a ripple in reality itself. As it passed through the stadium walls, the very air seemed to fold, creating a visual distortion like looking through warped glass. Maya felt it pass through her body, a sensation of being simultaneously here and elsewhere, of existing in multiple states at once. For an instant, she could see beyond normal perception, glimpsing the quantum underpinnings of reality itself. Then, clarity returned. The harvesters remained frozen. The stadium stood intact. But the sky had changed. Where moments before the blue expanse had been filled with harvester ships and nuclear fire, now there was only peaceful, empty blue. "Annika," Maya said quietly, "what just happened?" The scientist stared at her instruments in wonder. "We're shifted, not physically moved, but realigned on a quantum level. We exist in the same physical space, but in a different frequency of reality. The harvesters, left behind in the reality we departed, to them, Earth simply vanished." Maya approached the quantum ring, where the being that had been Gabriel now hovered, its form gradually stabilizing. "It is done." The Lumina/Gabriel consciousness communicated. "Earth is safe. The harvesters cannot follow *. And the isolation?" Maya asked. "How long?" "We have modified the quantum shadow parameters. It will not be permanent, as we feared." Earth will gradually realign with its original quantum state asterisk. How gradually? Asterisk 50 of your years, perhaps less if your science advances quickly asterisk. Maya absorbed this. 2 generations of isolation from the stars. And you? She asked. The lumina? Gabriel. The light being pulsed gently. Asterisk, we exist now as one consciousness. Neither fully lumina nor fully human. We will remain with Earth during its isolation, guiding your scientists to understand what has happened. When Earth rejoins the galactic community, we will help you take your place among the stars asterisk. As protectors, Maya realized. Like we protected you. Asterisk yes. The cycle continues. Compassion rewarded with compassion asterisk. Around them, the frozen harvester scouts began to disintegrate, their molecular structure collapsing without the quantum network to sustain them. President Garcia's voice came through the facility's speakers once more, filled with cautious hope. Captain Reyes. Dr. Sharma. What's happening? The harvester fleet. It's gone. All of it. Maya looked up at the empty sky, then at the luminous being that represented the merged consciousness of 2 species who had chosen to save each other when logic demanded otherwise. Madam President, she replied, I think we just changed humanity's place in the universe. #EPILOGE. 50 years later, the observation platform atop Mount Kilimanjaro housed the most powerful telescope humans had ever built, not an optical telescope, but a quantum resonance detector capable of peering beyond Earth's quantum shadow into the broader galaxy. Admiral Maya Reyes, her hair now silver, but her stance still military straight, stood beside Dr. Annika Sharma as they watched the final calibrations. Though both were well into their 80s, neither would have missed this historic moment. Quantum alignment at 98%, announced Director Chen, grandson of the late President Garcia. Shadow dissolution accelerating. We'll have our first clear reading in 3, 2, 1. The massive display illuminated, showing the star field beyond Earth's solar system for the first time in 5 decades. The room fell silent in collective awe. So many, Annika whispered. So much to explore. Beside them, a column of soft blue-white light coalesced into the now familiar form of the Gabriel/Lumina consciousness. In the 50 years since Firewall's activation, the merged being had become humanity's guide, teaching them to harness quantum technology far beyond what they could have developed alone. Asterisk, the harvesters are gone asterisk, it announced. Asterisk, in our absence, other species united against them. Without the Lumina abilities they sought to absorb, they could not evolve quickly enough to survive asterisk. Good riddance, Maya muttered. Asterisk, but there is more, asterisk, the light being continued. Asterisk, word of Earth has spread. Of the humans who chose to protect a dying species at great cost to themselves. Many civilizations wish to establish contact asterisk. Director Chen looked uncertain. Are we ready? 50 years of isolation has changed us, but we're still young compared to most spacefaring species. Asterisk, you are ready. Asterisk, Gabriel/Lumina assured him. Asterisk, more than ready. During your isolation, Earth has united as never before. You have eliminated poverty, developed sustainable energy, and built a society based on cooperation rather than competition. You have proven worthy of the sacrifice made to protect you asterisk. The quantum detector chimed, indicating an incoming transmission, the first from beyond Earth in 5 decades. Where is it coming from? Maya asked. Asterisk, a coalition of species calling themselves the Galactic Accord. They've been waiting for Earth's return asterisk. What do they want? Annika wondered. The light beam pulsed with what Maya had learned to recognize as amusement. Asterisk, they want to invite humanity to join them. Not as junior members or protectees, but as equals. Your reputation precedes you. The species that chose compassion when logic demanded abandonment. The species that protected the last of the Lumina asterisk. Asterisk, they have been monitoring Earth's quantum shadow, watching as you developed. They have seen how you've grown, how you've used your isolation to build rather than conquer. They believe you have something valuable to offer the galactic community asterisk. Which is? Director Chen asked. Asterisk hope, asterisk the being replied simply. Asterisk in a universe often cold and pragmatic, Earth represents something precious. The willingness to risk everything to do what is right, not what is expedient asterisk. The quantum detector displayed a request to open two-way communication, Earth's first conversation with alien intelligence, at least alien intelligence beyond the lumina, waited at the touch of a button. Maya looked at the beam of light that had once been 27 lumina refugees and one human linguist. Would they have come to this conclusion without your influence? Without what the lumina taught us? Asterisk perhaps not asterisk it acknowledge. Asterisk but what matters is not how the lesson came to you, but that humanity embraced it. When faced with extinction or betrayal, you chose a third path. You opted for compassion, even at tremendous cost asterisk. Asterisk, that is what the galaxy needs now. That is what Earth offers. Not superior technology or military might, but the simple, powerful idea that even in our darkest moments, we can choose to be better than mere survival instinct asterisk. Maya nodded toward the communications panel. Then I think it's time we introduced ourselves to the neighbors. As Director Chen activated the transmission, Maya thought about the 27 luminous beings who had come to Earth seeking sanctuary so long ago. They had found not just protection, but a legacy that would outlive their physical forms. In choosing to protect them, humanity had discovered its own best nature and its unique contribution to the cosmic community. The screen flickered to life, showing a diverse assembly of beings unlike anything humans had imagined. The Galactic Accord waited to welcome Earth. And humanity, tested by fire and isolation, stepped forward to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors or supplicants, but as the species that, when faced with the ultimate choice, had chosen compassion over fear. The cycle continued, and the universe was better for it. The end.